First off, $9 billion in revenue. I think that I can safely say that would mean a $40 billion trajectory for revenue, up 26%. Quite frankly, at the end of the year, they could be bigger than SAP and Salesforce as a company, and that is amazing, right? They don't sell hardware, right? It's all services, which I think is just amazing. They made almost $1 billion in op inc. Do you remember when, part of the conversation on all of our podcasts was, are they going to ever make money? Right. But 864 million in op inc. That's not in net income, but you can very much compare that with the AWS line that's Intel that's in there. So Vertex 6x API request, which is big and interesting. Samsung Galaxy S24 they brought in as examples. And it's funny, I'd always thought that as B2C, but it's B2B. It's Google Cloud. And a lot of our analysis on the new S24 and Galaxy AI were the services that they were leveraging from Google Cloud. And I just thought that was fascinating. So they reiterated, hey, 75% are generative AI unicorns. That's been a talking point for the last 3 quarters. They're sticking to that. I think it's pretty easy to say they're getting some lift from generative AI. I wish they would put $1 or percent lift from generative AI, like we're seeing from companies, but maybe we're going to have to wait till the next quarter.
And there you have it, straightforward, Pat. But yeah, I mean, look, they're running on towards a $40 billion a year business. So it's significant, it's consequential, it's interesting, Pat. I do think, and I said this earlier in my Microsoft remarks, how the accounting for cloud revenue is becoming so disaggregated in terms of each company's approach that the comparison of who's 1, who's 2, who's 3 is going to get harder and harder as time goes on, because it's just what's being baked in as cloud is not going to be the same. Having said that, Google's growing a very significant business. So it'll be interesting to see what Oracle comes out with, by the way, in the next quarter as well. But the rest of Google did well. I mean, look, and when I say do well, I mean, it beat. Having said that, it didn't do it in the right areas. People wanted more out of YouTube. They wanted more out of overall advertising. Those numbers looked a little soft. And when you saw Meta's numbers come in and how well Meta did, it definitely put some additional pressure on Google because, it kind of kicks around. I've said for a long time, Google's above the fold, Google Ads, but Meta, for whatever reason, it's like they found another gear. They took when they finally turned off the I'm nuts for metaverse and got focused back on their core business, they tend to be really good at that. Now, again, not trying to distract from the Google conversation. I'm just saying Google's got a strong rise. Their business is mature. The growth rates have become mature. They're not as exciting anymore. Cloud's one of their biggest growth areas. It will be interesting, Pat, to actually hear what you said, because we need to hear what you said, is how much is AI? We always said Google Cloud is kind of the cool AI cloud. It was the one that originally we thought was more data-centric, AI-centric, and that was a differentiator. I would love to hear them talk about how that's impacting the business. That's something that I'm waiting for. But having said that, I mean, what a really great growth trajectory and run. And also an operating income, Pat, almost $1 billion of op inc coming out of that business. Now, I haven't gotten underneath it to see if there was any accounting done. I know the first time they made a profit, there was a lot of scrutiny as to how that was done with depreciation and some different things. But you know what? Like I said, nobody scrutinizes non-GAAP earnings anymore. That's just what we've all become accustomed to. So having said that, overall, advertising, I think, remains strong. Google is core. I'm also interested in kind of the Gemini move, how that's maturing, how that's being adopted. It was a very exciting launch, also had a little controversy around it, but largely was positive. But again, how is that being adopted? How is that being used? How is that driving revenue? I mean, look, what has made Microsoft so successful, in my opinion, over the last 4 to 6 quarters has been a willingness to disclose the impact that AI is having on its business. And other than NVIDIA, very few are doing that. And so people want that. When you're not giving that, knowing how good it's been for the market, you kind of worry that there's a reason. But having said that, maybe it's also a coming out moment. We heard Tim Cook this week say, he's going to talk about generative AI sometime later this year. Pat, that's 2 years after the kind of chat. He's 2 years late. You know what? He's chilling. Tim Cook's chilling. He's like, we're fine. Apple doesn't need to be early. Haven't been early in a long time. So, and it works because, someone said to me, if 10 million, what was it that Apple could come out with a new product, which is basically they could, take a dump in a box and there'd be 10 million people willing to buy it. So
yeah, I don't know if you put that meme out there, but I saw that too. And I'm reading Steve Jobs' biography, another one, and the classic comment comes up that the best artists steal. That's his line, and well, there we go. Rarely first, but they make an impact when they come out.
Yeah, one of my MBA professors, stole a line that was basically that the best marketers copy and steal everything. So he stole a line that ended up talking about stealing. Anyways, that's China. China's entire business strategy, right?